Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are and what time you're watching this. It's time once again for episode 105, I believe, of Wednesday Afternoon Live with me, SaleenDriver, the longest running Wednesday afternoon live stream in all of YouTube that I know of. The show about nothing in particular. Yes, it's that time of the week once again, my friends, for the show. The show where we go skidding off all over the place into whatever subject seems to come up on the panel. You never know. Let's set everything up here. And the first person in, besides me, of course, is the Battle Angel, followed closely by Alan A. The nicest troll in all of YouTube, Alan A is. Let me get that set. So, what to talk about? Oh, I don't know. It's whatever everyone wants to talk about. Pizza Woman is here, my troll killer number one. Hope you'll be on your game today, P-Dub. All the other live streams that I attend lately seem to be inundated with sex bots. Although the fact that, I'm not very attractive and women wouldn't have me anyway, maybe I'll be immune to sex bots. I don't know. Time will tell. So let's see. Excuse me. Let's see. I think if memory serves me correctly, we are looking at my calendar here, right below me. What, about 3 weeks away? 3 weeks away from college football. Finally, college football. Finally, we will no longer have to sit around on a Saturday morning, afternoon, evening thinking, oh, what the fuck? I mean, for me, it's a bittersweet college football. See, I love college football as much as anybody here or will be here. But this is not going to be the easiest season in the world for me to watch. So, yeah, it's good news, bad news kind of thing. Oh, GF Sports is here. Good to see you. Pete Someone said, this is a PSA that you should watch Golden Blue Dude's videos at 2 times speed because he is delusional. Well, and Battle Angel said, stop it. Why is she saying stop it? Should I just sign off and go do something else? No, Alan, Georgia is your champion. Georgia will never be anything of mine except a place to drive through on my way to the Dragon or something else. But Georgia is nothing about Georgia that is mine anymore. Used to be where I lived for a while. Although I lived in the state of Metro Atlanta, not the state of Georgia. CJ is here. Good to see you, sir. Battle Angel says I shouldn't call him. I guess she's alluding to she shouldn't say I should call myself ugly. Well, you don't have to look at me every day, Battle Angel. I do. But thank you. Let's see. Alan. Yeah, I know Alan A is striker. I knew that for a little while, but he hasn't defended me yet. Not like others, which they don't come on here anymore. I don't see them anymore, so that's a good thing. Let's see. I'm also trying to see if anyone will comment on my background here, the little picture I have on the screen. And as I start the stream, my parents call. Hang on a minute. Okay. I need somebody, anybody, to come in right now into the StreamYard and run this thing for a few minutes while I run over to my parents' house. So if somebody could click on that link, come into the yard, and just do a lot of talking for a little bit till I come back. Hey Ballard, how you doing, man? Pizza Woman says funny. Slim Shady is there. Good to see you, sir. Somebody come into the StreamYard, please. I'm just gonna have to walk away and let the stream run on its own. Yeah, grab my car keys while I'm at it. Always happens. Every time I start cooking, I get called over there. Every time I start one of these damn live streams, I gotta go over there. So nobody, anybody, nobody. Oh, thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. Nobody? Okay, well, I got to go. So I'm going to leave it running. So the chat can speak amongst yourselves and entertain yourselves. And nobody on the stream except in the yard except me. So I'll just I'm going to turn the camera off, but I will, I'll leave the camera on. So at least you know that the stream is still running, but I got to go. So I'll be back in like 10, 15 minutes. Something like that, I guess. Yeah, Bueller. Yeah, anybody? Bueller? Nobody? Okay. I'll see you in a few minutes. Talk amongst yourselves. Bye-bye. Anybody left? Anybody watching at all? That would be amazing. And of course, if anybody's still here, thank you for still being here. I've managed to avert a minor crisis. And everything is okay. Let's see. Hoagie's here. Who else is here? Real TB's here. Okay. I don't know what anybody's talking about. Anyway. Now let's drop the link again in case anybody wants to come onto the yard. Anyway, I am back. I appreciate everyone hanging around. Let's see. Don't forget also to click the thumbs up button. Only takes half a second to do that. Pardon. And it does help the channel out. Well, let's see. So what are we talking about here? Something about Slim asking Battle Angel about having fun last night. Let's see. Well, CJ, I mean, you could come into the yard too. I mean, nobody. Ain't no danger here. This is a safe zone, I guess. Unless you're a leftist snowflake, then. I mean, then it's not really much of a safe space. But what's going on, Hoagie?
How much is celebrating number 51 today?
What?
Celebrating number 51 today.
Oh, it's your birthday?
Yes.
Oh, 51, eh? Oh, happy birthday, sir.
Thank you.
Still not as old as I am, but... Okay.
No, sure. Just a couple of years behind you, but anyway, no. So, everything all right with your mom and dad there?
Yeah, it was just a minor snafu at home, and I've solved that problem multiple times. I just couldn't remember. It's been a while since that problem cropped up, and I couldn't remember what to do, what buttons to push, and what settings to change. And unless I was right in front of the device, and once I got there, I said, "Oh yeah, this has happened before. We'll fix that."
Minor snafu, it was on you, or minor snafu that your dad was being stubborn and didn't want to cooperate?
Neither. He hit the wrong button.
Nice.
Sent everything into sent everything to hell.
Hey, is Slim in the background?
No.
Oh,
Slim don't want to. Slim won't come on until Slim wants to come on. So
okay, I was just wondering stuff like that. So, what's your take about the new deal with the Big Ten? With CBS, Fox, and NBC?
I don't know what the deal is because I've been paying attention to a lot of other crap.
Okay.
What's up, Ballard?
Hey, what's up?
Trying to stay awake.
Ballard, wake up, man.
I'm here.
Wake up, Christian. No, sorry. So, well, wait a minute. Well, I think I heard something. I know CBS is losing the SEC, which all I can say about that is thank Christ. Can't stand.
Here we go, Gary D. Here we go. And now you're bashing again.
I hate him with. There are several people. If I ever had the opportunity to, I would punch dead in the face. He's number 3 on the list.
Okay, who's number 1 and 2?
The first 2 are.
Me too.
Oh, the first 2 are easy. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama.
Yeah, but they're not announcers. You said 3 announcers.
No, 3 people.
Why would you hit Mr. Obama for?
Because
Hillary, I can see that with Hillary, but Mr. Obama.
Because he's a piece of shit. That's why he started he accelerated the destruction of America, and now his minion Puddinhead is driven it over the cliff.
Okay,
but that's a whole nother subject.
All right, one last thing. Go ahead, Saleen.
Okay, CBS is losing the SEC. I guess they're picking up the small 10.
Yeah, and they're
What's
also
up, Slim?
and they're also getting. Now I wonder how they're going to do that with Notre Dame football with NBC.
You
Since
see, I'm a
NBC is
little
also picking up
behind
the
on
Big
all
Ten.
this. Somebody's going to have to tell me what's been going on because I'm a little. I know Lou did a video this morning about, the Big Ten's doing lost this or is doing that. I haven't had time to watch it. I've been busy this morning.
But
So
basically, to sum it all up, whenever the Big Ten's contract is up with the ESPN, they're going with Fox Sports is their primary, CBS is their secondary, and
okay.
NBC will catch the scraps
For the
Oh,
Big
okay.
Ten or the SEC?
for the Big Ten.
Yeah,
So
but,
where's the SEC going?
Nowhere.
ESPN. They're going to stay with ESPN.
Exactly where they are.
Well, I mean, they're going away from CBS.
Well, that contract expires, and apparently nobody's interested
they got a
in renewing it.
contract. They got a contract with ESPN to air the games.
So
And
The
SEC
contract
will.
The contract with ESPN with CBS, I mean, it was no big secret. It was coming up to expire here in the next couple of years, and apparently nobody had any interest in renewing it.
So the SEC is going to be exclusively on either the four-letter network or the SEC network.
In ABC, so like ABC's Sunday night game.
Well, as long as Danielson doesn't call another SEC game after that contract ends, I'll be a happy man.
I'm gonna feel so bad for Ohio State fans. Actually,
and to answer your previous question, Michael, who wouldn't want to punch Barack Obama in the face is a much better question.
Okay, now let me ask you this: are you guys going to be equal opportunity punchers, or is it just all Democrats only?
I'm gonna limit my punching in the face to Marxists. Yes.
Well, not at all. There are plenty of spineless Republicans that fall into that category too.
Because I can think of two right now. Well,
I
three,
can
but
think of
two of them
two
right
right
now
now.
that I really want to smack up the bitch smack right now. And they're from my
I
home
could
state.
I could think of more than two, but my top two would probably be Mitch the Turtle McConnell and
Oh yeah, Cocaine Mitch.
and then Liz, I'm a traitor to my country, Cheney.
Nope, the two senators from my home state,
I don't know your home state.
Indiana.
Oh, okay, that's right, Indiana.
Yep, because they're against veterans, and that is not on my good side. And one of them is actually a former veteran.
Well, are they actually against veterans, or did somebody tell you they're against veterans and it's complete horseshit?
Put it like this: when they voted for that one bill recently that had to do with the burns and stuff like that with the veterans, they both shot it down. They both voted against it.
There's a reason why I would have voted against it too, because they put an extra $40 billion into that bill that had nothing to do with it, that went to other bullshit.
All
so
right.
when you decide to load up a bill like a shopping cart, I would vote it down too.
Yeah, but
I'm old enough to remember when there was such a thing as clean bills.
mhm.
You know, the bill was about one thing or maybe one or two or three things.
Going. Yep.
Not about let's shotgun the damn bill and see how much crap we can pile into it.
Yep.
But see, that they do that kind of shit for a reason. That way that they throw other bullshit into it that nobody wants or really isn't even needed. And then they'll say, oh, well, you're just voting against veterans. No, you're a fucking asshole.
They love to load these bills up. Well, yeah, because don't forget, nobody's written an actual annual budget that's passed Congress in probably over a decade. They keep throwing appropriations into bills that have nothing to do with appropriations, so they can spend money without actually having to pass a budget. Because if you pass the budget, God help you, you'd have to show leadership and you'd actually have to commit to something by passing a budget. You know, we haven't passed a budget in over a decade. We keep passing continuing resolutions, and
that may change here in the next couple of years too.
Yep. All right.
I see it.
Because you've got a group trying to convene a convention of states. And
That would be. I think this country needs two things almost immediately: a balanced budget amendment and a term limit amendment for Congress.
and that's
Yeah.
both the thing. That's two of the things that they're proposing. And as long as you get 38 states to ratify it out of the convention, it becomes a constitutional amendment. You completely bypass Congress.
Yeah,
Yes.
but the key word is getting it passed to where, because I can see the balanced budget most likely will end up passing before they do the term limits.
I could see both of those passing. I think there's enough people with common sense, left and right, that think term limits are a good idea.
Yeah, but they've been dealing with that since what, 1990, or if not earlier than that.
Well, they've been dealing with it in Congress, not a convention of states.
Mhm.
I mean, you're never going to get it passed in Congress. You're talking about a group of people voting themselves out of power. That's never going to happen.
Mhm.
Well, maybe they could. I always thought maybe if Congress wanted to do the right thing, and pass term limits, they could say, okay, we will pass term limits starting. Let's throw out in 2024. We will begin term limits. Anyone in office before 2024 is not. It doesn't apply to them. So
They're grandfathered.
they're grandfathered out of the term limit amendment, and that way they wouldn't be voting to cut their own jobs, and you could take that excuse out of not passing the amendment. Such an amendment would never pass through Congress, regardless of how much candy coating you put on it to save their phony baloney jobs. Just like a balanced budget amendment will never pass Congress because money equals power in Washington.
Yeah, but haven't they had balanced budgets passed both a couple times?
No, they haven't had a balanced budget in Washington since the Gingrich Congress.
They haven't had a balanced budget since Clinton was in office.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I think
it wasn't
they
Clinton that
I
did
thought
it.
they
It
had
was
one
Gingrich
with
that did
Clinton, Bush 42, I think it was, or 43. I can't remember. Anyway, hey Slim, got a question for you. So you don't think Miami's got enough to get to win the ACC championship and get to the CFP this year?
ACC championship, maybe. Playoffs, no.
You don't think
the only reason I say ACC championship is because they're going to have a rematch against Clemson, and more than likely they're going to lose the first game, and it just seems to be the way it works out.
Now, if DJ's the quarterback in that game, they got a real good shot to win.
I mean, I don't know. Depends on how much he improves. Depends on how much the O-line improves.
Sure.
It depends on Miami's own O-line and running game.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on, how far Miami's defense is going to come along this offseason. I know it's going to be improved, but I don't know how much until I see them on the field.
Yeah.
It's going to depend who's going to be the guy to step up in the wide receiver room.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have that clearly defined number one receiver.
Oh, I thought they did. Anyway, but does anybody know who Sam Hartman's backup quarterback is for Wake Forest since he's done for the season?
Oh, I don't know.
He's not just out for the season. He's out indefinitely.
I didn't hear.
I didn't even know he was out.
Yeah, it was reported this morning. It's a non-football related injury.
The ESPN app. Matter of fact, I think I've still got it right up here. Clicked across my phone this morning. Breaking news, Wake Forest quarterback Sam Hartman will be sidelined indefinitely because of a non-football related medical condition.
Wonder what happened to him. Car accident or something?
They didn't disclose it.
I mean, it doesn't say anything about an accident. It just says a medical condition.
Oh, maybe they found something wrong with his heart or something.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shame. Hate to see that to happen to somebody who looks like they're on the verge of doing something great.
Yeah,
that offense was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I'm actually curious about the quarterback.
Oh, and I want to answer something about that Bill Hartnett said. He said term limits are great and all, but won't solve it. I don't know what it is, but it may not solve all the problems in DC, Bill. I agree with that. However, one thing about the people in Congress that have been there for 20, 30, 40 odd years is it's just so they get so rich on a $175,000 salary. If you and they build up a ton of power, which begets a lot of money from lobbyists and donors and things like that. If you say to the world that, okay, just picking numbers out of the sky, really, let's say a representative, a House of Representative member is only allowed to serve 4 terms, so 8 years, and then they're done for the rest of their life. Well, I'm being because a senator is 6-year term, so let's say 2 terms for a senator and 4 terms for a representative.
Senator's 4-year term. I don't know where you're coming up with that.
Senators are 6-year terms, sir. That's in the Constitution. Anyway, if they know that they're going to be limited for life to a certain number of years, they're less likely to incur a lot of. They have a limit on how much power they can accumulate before they're kicked out by a term limit. So it's sort of. I'm not saying it's good. I would never be dumb enough to say it negates the amount of money in a in DC and money and power, but it sort of blunts it.
Because you did leave out the insider trading, and that's a good chunk of it right there.
Yeah, the insider trading, which certainly Nancy Pelosi's husband has been benefiting for most of her career. So, but nobody does FBI raids on her house in the middle of the night and spend 9.5 hours in her house. And nobody raided Swalwell's house, even though he was stooping a Chinese spy for years and years and years. Or nobody raided the Clintons.
Get it right, sir. 9 of them, 9 Chinese spies.
Oh, well, all right. That doesn't make it any better, but nobody raided his house, seized his computers, seized his documents, opened his safes.
Although it is funny,
the Clintons themselves should have been raided 5 times.
It is funny they raided Rudy Giuliani's house and walked right by Hunter Biden's laptop and left it there.
Well, you can see the Hunter Biden's laptop was in Trump's safe. I have an exclusive picture of it here on my screen.
I like that picture. That's funny.
Yeah, Saleen, I did like that. So how long did it take you to get that put together?
I didn't put it together. I found it on the Book of Faces. I grabbed it before it was Mother Zuckerberg.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of that, Slim, thank you for the video you sent me, the video link you sent me. I never
figured you'd find
heard of
that
the guy.
kind of funny.
I never heard of the guy before. He's some kind of a watch expert. I'd say I agree with about 75% of what he said, but man, he had he said some things that just like, huh? It's like, really?
Well, I knew how much of a fan of Seiko's you were, and that's what made me send it to you.
Well, I mean, I like Seiko. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I have a brand new Seiko arriving off of Amazon. It's actually a type of watch I never owned before. So I'm interested to try it out and see what a difference that particular movement makes compared to the ones I'm used to.
I mean, I own an Invicta, and those are some of the most hated watches. I mean, I say most hated. I mean, it's probably about 60-40 because they do have their followers, but I don't have. I like the Invicta I have.
Well, it depends. I mean, there's Invicta is like a Jekyll and Hyde situation. The old Invicta, the classic Invicta, a lot of people love those because those were classic designs, tasteful designs, very understated, well-made watches. And then there's the current Invicta, which are just out of your mind, outrageous, monstrous 50 millimeter, dinner plates on your wrist made out of all kinds of weird shapes and materials and colors. And
speaking of a 50 millimeter monster,
or is that the Mudmaster you bought? That's a nice watch though. You sent me a picture of that. I liked that.
But I actually exactly what you're saying. I've come across bunches of videos, people saying the same thing about Movado and Bulova.
Bulova. No, not Bulova. Bulova.
I've heard it pronounced both ways. So
me
whatever.
too, but I did anyway. Now Bulova back in the day, back in the 60s and early 70s, they were at the top of the game. I mean, they had a watch movement. This was pre-quartz movement. There was a completely electronic movement. They used a tuning fork, the vibration of a tuning fork, to time the watch. And the technology was so out there that it was picked up by NASA.
Yeah.
And the U.S. government tried to classify it because they didn't want the Russians to buy Bulova watches, which was an American company, by the way, and buy the watches and reverse engineer the technology because the U.S. was using that technology on their spacecraft.
Yeah, matter of fact, one of them, because that was the video I watched about it, he said that exactly. It was the CIA that tried to block them from getting out there, and one of them was carried on an Apollo mission, and he actually ended up wearing it on the moon because his Omega crapped out on him.
Yeah, I remember that. I've owned several Bulovas, what they call the Accutrons. That was the model of Bulova. It's called Accutron. I still have one. It's too small, really, for me to wear. I'll probably sell it someday just because I never wear it. It's kind of a shame to have it sit there. Beautiful watches, fantastic technology, way ahead of their time considering at the time they were made. Most watches were either automatics or manual winds, and the quartz watch hadn't been invented yet. And the quartz watch basically killed Bulova. And killed that whole design off. So now it's just a collectible.
A lot of haters out there on Tudor too, which I think they're kind of nice myself.
I have a couple of Tudor. My dad has 6 of them. Beautiful watches. And most people downgrade them or not to downgrade, disrespect them by saying, I'm sorry for boring you, Ballard. Most people disrespect Tudor by saying it's a knockoff Rolex.
Yeah, that's what I heard a lot.
Tudor owns Rolex. But Tudor nowadays, Tudor does their own movements. They do their own designs. And let's not forget, Rolex was not always the Rolex we think of now. Rolex started out as a tool watch, a watch made for a specific sporting purpose. That was like the Submariner was made as a diving watch. The Explorer was a field watch. the GMT Master was a traveler's watch. As a matter of fact, those watches with the yellow and I'm sorry, not yellow, red and blue bezels, what they call the Pepsi bezels now, were made specifically for Pan American airline pilots so that they could track multiple time zones. They were a tool watch, and they were actually very inexpensive at the time. But Rolex has morphed into a luxury, near high-end timepiece. Unfortunately, I don't believe that they are godlike like that video you sent me. The guy thinks that they are godlike, but that's silly.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, he was British, and Rolex is a British watch.
No, Rolex is Swiss. Tudor is.
But
Tudor
they're
is
Swiss moved.
No, they're Swiss made.
There's they're Swiss made, but it was a London-based company.
Yes, yeah, the headquarters is in London, but
Right.
the factories are still in Switzerland.
Right.
But Rolex did not start out to what they became. They morphed into what they are now. So,
And if you can buy
great watch. I lost that whole thing, Slim. You just went into stutter mode.
Hey, Saleen.
Ballard, are you okay, man? Ballard?
Wake up, Ballard.
Ballard has gone night-night. Or something.
Hey, Saleen, I'm gonna get out of here because there's too much echoing going on right now. I'm still gonna be in the mainstream though, but can I message you on the book of faces later? Because there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about.
Well, it's Ballard.
Yeah, you can, but I'm going to be real busy. So if I do answer you, it'll probably be real short answers.
All right, it's nothing important and stuff. I mean, nothing life threatening and stuff. It's just a couple questions about a few things I want to do here soon.
All right.
All right, hey, Saleen, before I go, how's things going with the boss?
Same old.
How much longer?
If she's right, 2 months.
So we're talking October. So
Well, I mean, it
So
was
you guys-
October anyway, but it's
was
set
it?
for the end of October. But it may be, if she's right, it'd be more towards the beginning of October.
Oh, okay. So, do you guys know what you're going to have, or is it a surprise?
It's a girl.
All right. Just wondering. Well, anyway, congratulations. All right, guys, take care. See you soon.
Say hello.
All right. I wouldn't
Hey,
want
Ballard
to be
woke
surprised.
up.
I wouldn't
I don't
want to
know
be
what-
surprised by the birth of my kid. I don't know what color to paint the room.
Well, I went neutral anyway, and we painted when my oldest daughter was born, we painted her room gray.
Ballard, are you feeling okay? You look a little.
Yeah. I'm fine. I don't know what's going on your end, but my computer does keep freezing up just a little bit. But that's probably because I got a couple tabs open.
You're in Tampa now, right?
Yeah, I'm visiting for the week.
No.
Go home Sunday.
Oh, look who's here. It's Raj.
Raj.
Oh, is Tiger Baskins and Golden Blue Dude are streaming too? I didn't know that.
Well, Golden Blue Drew just randomly starts live streams.
Oh.
You're echoing again, Ballard.
Nice.
But no, the reason I sent you that video, I got a chuckle out of it because, a lot of the stuff that I have, he's got in his shit category. Like I said, Movado gets a lot of hate. I've got a Movado too.
Oh, Movado was the thing back in the day. I mean, everyone had to have a museum watch. Those were highly desirable watches.
Well, and I get a lot of their stuff. I guess it got so popular that a lot of their stuff is along that museum line, but that's not one that I have.
You know what I found funny about that whole thing, and I guarantee you, only watch people. I mean, people who actually, are as into it as I am would have picked up on it. Was in the Hublot category, the category below shit, which Hublot is a shitty watch, an expensive shitty watch. He also put another watch brand in there named Filippo Loretti. And I saw that and I started laughing. I went, yeah, you are absolutely terrible watch. I'll give you the short version of the story of Filippo Loretti. It helps if you understand, if you've heard of something called Kickstarter.
Yeah, I know what Kickstarter is.
Okay. Filippo Loretti is completely a Kickstarter phenomenon. And they've done multiple campaigns on Kickstarter. I don't even know if the company exists anymore. By all rights, they shouldn't. They had two campaigns in particular. There was a third and fourth campaign. Did phenomenally well in terms of the number of pledges they got or buy-ins they got. And they marketed themselves as an Italian company, Italian-made, high-end movements, beautiful finishes, Italian leather straps, all kinds, really upsold themselves to the nth degree. What's up, Mr. Vic?
Yeah. What's up, y'all?
Not much. Anyway, on the third campaign, which I supported, and I did eventually get the two watches I ordered. It took 18 months to get the watches because of constant delays and bullshit that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And when they came in, they were a generic watch case, which had really kind of crappy gold plating on it. They advertised a sapphire crystal. They didn't come with sapphire crystals, and they came with a really cheap Chinese knockoff of a Swiss movement, which was wildly inaccurate, and on with the bullshit. Yes, 18-month Baylor, man. That's why I don't support Kickstarter anything anymore, because it just the lead time between when you put up your money and when you actually get what you paid for is idiotic, and I don't have the patience for that.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what confuses me about the whole. That's what confuses me about the whole thing is, obviously there's brands I know. I'm not into it like you, but there's so many of these micro brands that people try pushing, and it's almost a little overwhelming. There's so many of them.
Well, that's kind of the point of micro brands, and a lot of them got their start on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I know.
And I should preface it by saying that Kickstarter in general is a wonderful idea, a wonderful concept for somebody who has an idea for a product or a service in some cases. Like Star Trek fan films, I'm sure you've heard of this phenomenon. They do really well on Kickstarter. They raise a certain amount of money to fund the production of a Star Trek fan film video or whatever. Star Trek Axanar, Star Trek Intrepid, Avalon Universe, a few others are really high quality, decently to better than decently acted. And in the case of action are using very well-known actors, some of whom are Star Trek alum. And they've done really well on funding their projects. So that's Kickstarter is a wonderful environment for funding those kind of things. But I tell you, when it comes to product, whether I've seen watches, I've seen pen and pencil sets, I've seen compasses, knives, all kinds of things that you might want to buy or collect or whatever. It takes for fucking ever. And it's really not that complicated. And in the case of Filippo Loretti, they ripped off so many people, and the product that they turned out in their third and especially their fourth campaign, where they actually had the audacity to advertise a smartwatch, which, as far as I know, never came to fruition. And then I think they folded their tent and skulked away with everybody's money. Fortunately, I got my money back, but damn, it was just it was, and that was back when I didn't know what I was doing. Now I know what I'm doing. But for every one of those, there's a company like Boulder or my favorite Zelos that did really well with Kickstarter and succeeded to the point where they now no longer need Kickstarter to do what they do. As a matter of fact, with the case of many micro brands that I've dealt with before, Zelos being my favorite, obviously, they don't even use Kickstarter anymore. It's not necessary.
Well, I mean, it's Kickstarter is basically no different than any other kind of an investment, and I mean, there's risk with any investment.
Right, exactly right. But this investment promises you something tangible at the end of the turn, and when you don't get what you paid for, you feel a real letdown.
Oh, I get that.
But because of Kickstarter, I have gotten a hold of just pure Kickstarter. I have a few watches that are in my collection, which are great pieces, and I'm glad to have them. And because of Kickstarter, I discovered Zelos, and because of that, I now own a ton of those.
like I saw one. Now I may not buy it, but I thought it was it. Looking at it, it piqued my interest. A watch company bought the naming rights to Zeppelin, and it's a German-made watch.
Yes,
they're made in Germany, and that thing was it had like a brown gator skin strap, an ivory face on it, just really nice looking. That one actually caught my eye, and I thought maybe that's one I'd take a chance on.
I wonder. Wait a minute. I wonder. Hang on a second.
Type.
Yes, that's my keyboard again. Don't you be making fun of my keyboard now.
I'm gonna forever and always make fun of your keyboard.
I thought I knew one of the which one of the. Hang on a second. I think I know which one you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Zeppelin.
I'd have to go back and look. I mean, I don't have it written down, but I've got the video I saw it on. I've got it saved, and I was going to go search it when I had a minute.
Hang on a minute.
Well, while we're waiting on him, Mike, are you going to get back to your regular streaming schedule this week?
Yes, I am. It will be streaming on Friday. Yes, I will be on the morning show tomorrow. Yes.
I think this is the one. Maybe you said an ivory face.
Ivory, cream, whatever they wanted to call it.
Did it have an hour hand with a big circle in it?
I believe so.
That's a Zeppelin LZ-129.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's it.
LZ-129 Hindenburg automatic.
I like that kind of classic look. Catches my eye.
Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can share this.
Is it a chronograph or no? Because the one I was looking at was chronograph.
Did you say what?
I said, is it a chronograph watch or no?
No, it's a simple three-hander.
Okay. Which I like them both, but
Now, I know Zeppelin. I've heard of this brand before, and it's a hell of a nice watch. Very underrated.
Because see, like all of them I have look very different. You know, I'm not trying to get a bunch of chronographs or a bunch of this brand or that brand. All the ones that I have all look very different for, you know, different occasions or whatever.
I favor chronographs pretty heavily. I really like chronographs, so a lot of my collection is chronographs. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing a chronograph right now.
I do too, but and I've got, I think 2 or 3 of mine are chronographs. But like if it's more formal, I like to go simple and classic. Like especially if it's formal, like I go classic to the point where I still wear cufflinks if it's something formal. Just because I like that classic look. Yes, I like that classic look. I don't dress formally very often.
How you doing, man? I don't know. In Florida, it seems like cruel and unusual punishment to make somebody wear a tie. So.
I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've worn a tie in my life.
Yeah. I think the last time I wore a tie was at a funeral for one of my relatives.
Yep. And the time before that was when I got married.
Yeah, I was about to say the time before that was when I got married. I actually wore tux to my wedding.
I bought a 3-piece suit for mine, but the cufflinks, the tie bar, hell, I even wore. I've got an old mechanical pocket watch. I even wore it. I like those classic looks. I'm going formal.
One of my watch buddies actually, and they're actually as I'm about to mention this, the guy I'm about to mention just popped into the chat. Watch 62. How you doing, sir? He just did a video on his channel, and if you have any interest in watches, I suggest you go over to his channel as well as mine and sub up. But he just did a video on a pocket watch, which is really a nice one. And I've wanted to get a pocket watch for a while just to have one. I just don't know enough about them right now. I mean, I know obviously I know how they work and all that. I just don't know which one to buy that would be a decent purchase. I don't want to buy one of those things and get ripped off. So, Brad,
I got lucky. I got lucky there. Mine's inherited.
See, nobody in my family owned a pocket watch, so there's no pocket watches for me to inherit.
Yeah, well, mine's like the one I have is actually rather old. It's like pre-1920.
That would probably be about the right. era to buy one.
Yeah. Sterling silver.
No, I would want a gold one.
If I went gold, I would want white gold, just my own personal taste.
No, I understand that. I wouldn't mind a white gold one myself. Let's see.
What kind of video is this?
This is a watch video.
Apparently.
No, I know that. I gotta.
Yeah. So did I miss the political segment of this show? Or
Eh,
Yeah, I
not
think
really.
you
I mean,
did.
we can always go back to it if you're so inclined,
y'all
Mr.
talk
Vic.
about? Did y'all talk about the 87 IRS agents or the raid on Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago?
Actually, we weren't really talking about that per se.
Yeah, we got more into opinions on how to fix this, we'll call it lunacy going on in today's politics.
C-Dog has a video premiering right now, literally entitled "Which College Football Coaches Have the N-Word Pass?"
What? Well, I guess all the black coaches do, but
Well, as far as I'm concerned, if it's okay for anybody to say it, it's okay for everybody to say it. As far as I'm concerned.
I guess Dino Babers.
Did I miss
I
where?
guess Dino Babers probably gets an N-word pass. But
Did a coach say it? Did I miss that?
Well, yeah, that's what that coach from Oklahoma got fired for. But what he was doing was reading what the player had written in his notebook while they're supposed to be studying film or whatever. They were inside doing something.
And I mean, I guess,
Gail Gandhi, I see.
and I guess it's also okay for Marcus Freeman to say it.
Marcus Freeman's black, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Like
Well,
I said, if it's okay for anybody to say it, it's okay for everybody to say
Right.
it.
Now, what about James Franklin? I know he's mixed. I mean, is he black enough to say it, or is he too?
Well,
No.
I'll put it like this. It's okay for me to, and I'm not black at all.
Well, I remember recently somebody did a bit of a slur about Herschel Walker on PMSDNC. It was a black guy that said it, but he's known to be somewhat of the a bit, shall we say, bombastic.
Well, they also call Larry Elder a white supremacist, and that guy's about as black as they come.
Yeah. The LA Times referred to him as the black face of white supremacy.
He's like in Uncle Tom, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, what's funny is he's put out a documentary called Uncle Tom.
So I guess if you are black and you use that word or words that sound like that word, I guess it's okay.
As many times as I've been
really
called
shouldn't
cracker,
be.
and as many times as I've been called cracker and honky, it's okay for me too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, being somewhat of the, I wish I could find a picture of that, but I guess I don't have any pictures of that, so I can't find one.
Yes. So do y'all want to talk about my trip to the People's Republic of California?
No, Californication.
Yeah.
Hang
Come
on.
back.
Bill Hartnett, I appreciate you popping in. I appreciate contributing. Thanks for I hope you come back for another one. I usually try and do these once a week unless something's going on with my father.
Yeah, so I ate baba ganoush while I was out there. Yeah, like went to this like it was like a Middle Eastern restaurant. Yeah, we actually ate baba ganoush, which is actually like a kind of hummus. So
Isn't that what Raj says sometimes is baba
Yes.
ganoush?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
a hummus that's like made with eggplant.
Oh,
And K-Dog, I certainly do not need a neck watch. My name is not Flava Flav. Thank you.
A neck watch.
well, Mike, did you come back a full blown communist or what? Did they rub off on you?
No.
I thought he was a full-blown communist already.
I
Nah.
know. I did not come back a communist.
I'm glad you had fun there, because the one and only time I ever went to the People's Republic of Californication, I did not have a good time. I did not enjoy it. I could not wait to leave. I don't think they would let me back in anyway.
Right. So what did you do on your trip?
Well, I went out there right at the end of 2008, where you're right around New Year's. I didn't want to go, but it was my sister's wedding, her one and only, and hopefully no man will be stupid enough to do that again. The wedding was in Sacramento, or Sacramento. It was December 30th, 31st, the 1st. It was cold. It was raining. It was gray. It was ugly, and it was miserable. And I was treated like shit by everyone in the wedding.
Why?
Well, I didn't find out until later that all the people at the wedding obviously were friends of my sister or her now ex-husband. And my sister had gone around and told all her guests, and I found this out literally, don't speak to my brother, me, because he's mentally unstable and he's a conservative.
Okay. So
nobody would engage me in conversation, except finally I got through to one person, and it turned out to be my sister's dentist, of all things. And she said to me, she said, you are not what Melissa, that's my sister's name, you are not what Melissa said you were. And I said, how's that? And she said, well, she told everybody here that we shouldn't really talk to you very much because you're a flame-throwing conservative and you're unstable.
Yes.
Really?
So I guess that was the beginning of the end with y'all, I guess.
That was the last beginning of the end. There has never, well, there's been many beginnings of the end, but that one is the last one.
Okay, that's
so.
I've got some experience putting together a guest list for a wedding, and my fucking dentist was never on the guest list.
Yeah, my dentist would never be on a guest list for anything. But here's the worst part of the whole thing was this was the end of 2008. And as a Gator, I knew that the Sugar Bowl, New Year's Eve Bowl, Sugar Bowl at the time, was going to be Tebow's last game. Obviously, we weren't in the national championship game, but we were playing Cincinnati that year.
Saleen.
What?
The Gators won the national title in 08.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay,
no.
yes, technically they won. No, this was the end of 08. This is maybe at the end of 09. Anyway,
well, y'all hadn't.
It was the season that we lost to Bama in the SEC championship game. You remember that one?
That was 09. That was Bama's first national
my
title.
mistake. Anyway, Sugar Bowl was going to be Tebow's last game. I was supposed to be here in Florida at a viewing party with all my friends, watching the game, watching Tebow's last game as a Gator. Instead, I'm out in the People's Republic of Californication, shivering my ass off, cold, miserable, and jet lagged.
I think you've got
because I never do adjust well to time zone changes. And I had to go into the hotel, had something that was laughingly referred to by them as a sports bar. It wasn't. And I had to bribe the bar manager to put the game on the big screen. And remember, we're 3 hours behind, so this was at 5 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. I had to bribe him to put the game on the big screen so I could watch it. And I sat there alone for most of the game until my parents came in right around the end of the game to see how I was doing. And I had to watch that game alone. Watch a great performance by Tebow. Actually, I think he only threw 3 incompletes the whole game or something like that, and just destroyed Cincinnati. And I had to do that by myself, and then the next morning get up at 3 a.m. and get on a plane to, thank God, fly back to, the real world. And it's just a miserable trip all around. And that's my only memory of California is the misery that I endured through that entire wedding. So I'm never fucking going back there. I don't give a shit.
Well, anyway, well, I had a good time there, but
Well, I'm glad you did. I am glad you did. You look like you were having a great time. I saw all those pictures on the book of Zuckerberg.
oh yeah, yeah. So I went everywhere. I went to Hollywood. So I went to a wax museum while I was in Hollywood.
Yeah, I saw that. That looked pretty neat.
Yeah, and I did the whole Walk of Fame and the Chinese theater. I saw where like people had like their names and like their footprints on like the concrete. Yeah.
Hold on a second. Battle Angel. Who invites their dentist? I can tell you who exactly invites their dentist. People who don't have a lot of friends because they shit on everybody around them all the time. That's who invites their dentist so they can round out the guest list.
Yeah,
Mark's a piece of shit who has the interpersonal skills of a house plant.
And then I saw the Hollywood sign, all the Hollywood Hills and stuff.
You said you went to San Francisco too, right, Vic?
I did go to San Francisco. That's right.
Did you manage to roll over any hobos or piles of shit in the street?
No.
I was about to say, did you manage to avoid the shit in the street?
I did.
Oh, thank God for that. I mean, I think you have like little knobby tires on that chair of yours. So getting the shit out of the tread would have been a pain in the ass.
Yeah, so I saw the sea lions chilling right next to the dock. Let's see. Then I went to an aquarium. So, and of course, I saw the Golden Gate Bridge. So that's right. I went to some forests. I went to the John Muir Woods, saw all the redwoods, and then I found the Bohemian Grove. Yeah, or like the original Bohemian Grove. Yeah, they don't do their secret meetings there anymore, but.
Hey, what's up, Big Dog Bob? Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, and I went to the Sequoia National Park, saw all those really big trees. Let's see, I went to Yosemite, yeah. And Lake Tahoe, yeah.
Did you get to see not Grand Canyon, the Hoover Dam?
Hoover Dam, yeah, that's not in California.
Oh.
Hoover Dam is in California. I didn't know that.
No, it's not in California, but it's right across the state line, and a lot of people go to see it.
It's in Nevada. Yeah.
What's up, Wilkie?
Yeah, I did go into Nevada while we were at Lake Tahoe, but to take a boat ride. But that's right. Yeah, and then I did go to the beach, but I got like this beach chair with the big tires. But the water was really cold though. So yeah, so I just sort of only went kind of just halfway in, but kind of just got my
Did you get any good souvenirs or anything?
yeah, I did go to Chinatown when I was in San Francisco. Yeah.
Are we still allowed to call it Chinatown, or do we get
Yeah, I
canceled?
think
for doing
so.
that now?
Yeah, I think so.
You
What else?
never know what's appropriate nowadays. You really don't.
What else would we call it?
I don't know.
Southeast Asian
Southeast
town.
or Asia Pacific town, or
Yeah, something.
I don't know.
Pan Pacific town.
Get this thing from Chinatown, like this little drum. Yeah, do y'all see that?
Ah, the Miyagi drum.
Yeah. Yeah, so like you spin it, and that's how you get.
Drum technique.
Yes, he bought a Japanese drum in Chinatown.
Oh, okay. This is Japanese. Okay.
I don't know. Does it say made in China?
I don't know. I'm trying to look for that. Yeah, it doesn't say where. It doesn't say where it's made.
Everything's made in China.
It doesn't say where it's made. But...
Oh, Lizard Circus. Wait a minute. Lizard Circus is not Lizard Circus anymore.
Right. It was $3.99.
Lizard Circus is some kind of poet now. I forgot the name.
Right. I remember that. I forgot it too, but now you look in the chat and it says Lizard Circus again.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Let me answer this. JC has a serious question. What is a Saleen in basic terms? Okay. Basic. If you know anything about Mustangs, you know that back in the 60s, Carroll Shelby did what you would now refer to as a tuner Mustang. He bought Mustangs from Ford, took them to his place, modified them at Shelby American, and then sold them back to Ford for sale. Very successful. Steve Saleen in the early 80s was a driver in SCCA, Sports Car Club of America, and he was racing Mustangs. And they were doing pretty well because they had a better power to weight ratio than the crap Maros of the era, which they still do, but that's he had an idea for marketing modified Saleens, leaving the engines alone so they wouldn't have to go through EPA certification, but modifying the cars to make them special and unique, and then having Ford resell them. So in 1984, which was the first year of Saleen Motorsports, SMS, they modified 3 cars. And I know the guy who owns all 3 of them now. His name is Stuart Akers, but that's another subject. And he what he would do is he would buy Mustangs from Ford, take them out to his plant in California, modify them to whatever degree was necessary. And as the years and decades went by, the modifications were more and more. And then give them back to Ford, sell them back to Ford, and then Ford would sell them through select dealers.
Please.
Now that's the model. That's the model that Saleen uses. Roush, Highland.
There's a much simpler explanation of all that. Salena's Performance Shop, they buy Mustangs from Ford, modify them, and then resell them.
Yes, but I'm not one for simple explanations. I'm one for verbose because I am channeling my inner J-Dub.
Yeah, well, Hennessy does a much better job than Saleen these days. So,
true, but Hennessy is late to the game.
Saleen's almost defunct at this point.
Yes, and they've been defunct before. That's the bad thing about Saleen is Steve is really good, a really good idea man, but he's a really lousy businessman.
Great at tuning cars, bad at keeping the books.
Yes, essentially. And he's also really bad. And why did we lose Vic?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Maybe he decided to leave.
Yeah, it's a shame. I probably bored him to death.
And I'd say even Yanko did a better job at tuning cars than Saleen did.
Yanko was the era of Shelby, not the era of Saleen and Roush.
Oh, I know that.
Yanko did a great job tuning up Chevys. Shelby did a great job tuning up Fords, and later Dodges. Yeah, now back in the day, I got the privilege, and it was actually a privilege of getting many rides from a friend of mine that had one of those Dodge Omni GLHs, which was a Omni modified by Shelby. And those cars for their era were idiotically quick. But they handled so goofily that, you know, the ride was one of those rides that'll scare the piss out of you. But the cars were a lot of fun to drive and to ride in. I always wish I had been able to get a hold of one. I don't know. Just like, I mean, there are so many cars from the 80s that I really wish I had been able to buy. The Regal Grand National, would have loved to have bought one of those.
I've been trying to talk my uncle out of his for 10 years.
Keep talking.
He bought it brand new off the showroom floor in '85, which turned out to be the last year it came with T-tops.
Yep. Now the one to have, obviously, in that with that car is a GNX, but good luck finding one.
Well, so many of them are faked. For every real one, you're going to find 1,500 fake ones.
Oh yeah, no problem, Vic. I got you. Oh, good Lord. Computer's slow today. Oh, God. The Thunderbird Super Coupe, would have loved to have bought one of those.
I was watching a video like 2 months ago. A damn Superbird barn find.
Yeah. I would have loved to have gotten a hold of an 84 Mustang. One of the last of the four-eyed Mustangs. Real lightweight, 175 horsepower, 5-liter. But the weight on that car was so light that it was actually very, very, very quick for its era. It was actually faster than the Corvette of the same era.
Was that the last year right before they switched to the Fox body?
No, that was a Fox body. Fox body ran from 79 to 93, but it was 87 where they cut over to the Aero nose. The up until that point, they were what we refer to as the 4-eye.
I choose to, in my personal opinion, I choose to act like the Mustangs of the 70s and 80s don't exist.
Well, a lot of Mustang enthusiasts feel the same way you do with respect to the Mustangs from 74 to 78. You know, the Mustang 2. And I'm very quick to remind people of one thing about the 74 to 78 Mustang. If it weren't for that car, and admittedly that car had a ton of shortcomings, and it wasn't really a great car.
One of them, the biggest one being that it was ugly as sin.
Well, I don't know. The look of the 74 to 78s has grown on me as the years go by. But the one thing about those cars is they kept the nameplate going when Ford really wanted to get rid of it. And all the other cars of the Mustang's era, Camaro, Firebird, Cuda, Challenger, Corvette, all those cars, Javelin, AMX, all those cars, all of them at some point in their lives ceased production. Even the Corvette was not available in 1 year. That was 83. There were no 83 Corvettes. Look it up.
Well, Trans Am kept going until Pontiac went out of business.
Right, but they went out of business. I'm talking about from beginning to now, only one muscle car from that era, from the 60s onward, only one muscle/pony car has had continuous production since introduction. And that's the Mustang.
Yeah, the worst one of them all.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna kick you out of here in a minute.
I mean, it's not, I'm not trying to knock you, but Ford, and you know this, Ford has always lagged behind everybody.
Depends on what you're talking about.
I mean, but lag behind.
But the fact that my point of being and all that was, if it weren't for the 74 to 78 Mustangs, which were lagging way behind, to your point, Slim, if it weren't for those cars, the Mustang nameplate might have gone away for good. But they kept the flame alive long enough for Ford to realize that the Mustang nameplate meant something. And in 79, they had a redesigned car based on a better chassis with arguably a slightly better engine, which really didn't happen until 82. But the car was improved in 79 over the previous design. And the Fox body carried the torch all the way to now. I mean,
all the way to now, where it's an electric crossover.
No, that's not a Mustang.
But no, what I meant by lagging behind, the 289 was a piece of crap. That Mustangs have always lacked power compared to Mopar, compared to the Trans Am, compared to the Camaro. To me, Corvette's kind of pushed itself into supercar territory, so I'm not even putting it in that. But they just have. They have always lacked power compared to everything else.
Now, Jay makes a good point too. He says his buddy had an early 80s SVO, and it did have the turbo 2.3. It was also the first Mustang back in 84, 5, 6 with those cars. It was the first Mustang to have four-wheel disc brakes. And those cars were I actually got the privilege of driving an 85.5 SVO with the hotted up turbo motor. Great car, bags of power, lots of fun to drive, and they handled really well because they didn't have that big engine up over the nose to skew the weight distribution. The problem with those cars is you had to flog that motor to get power out of it. I mean, you had to drive an SVO Mustang like you were angry at it all the time. Otherwise, I mean, back in the day, they didn't have really good control over the turbo, so they added something called turbo lag, which basically is when you stomp on the gas, you have to wait a few seconds for the exhaust pressure to build up to spin the turbo to get the boost up. Nowadays, they can control that with the computers, but back then you really couldn't. And you had to drive that car like you were mad at it to keep the turbos spinning. But if you could drive like that all the time, and you drove, I mean, you had to strangle an SVO Mustang to get it to perform. But damn, that thing was fast, and that was a great car. This is another car I wish I had bought. I really wish I had bought an SVO Mustang.
Another one that's just like that is that damn Dorito Winkle in the RX-7s.
Yeah, especially the twin turbo one that they came out with the.
Oh yeah.
The problem with the twin turbos and a lot of people don't know this. Exactly, Jay. Stay in the power band. That's what you had to do with the SVO. The problem with the twin turbo, the first generation twin turbo RX-7 was they were sequential turbos. They weren't like a twin turbo nowadays where they're both spinning all the time. You had a small turbo in the RX-7 that spun up, and at a certain point, it spun up the bigger turbo, and that took over and gave you the extra grunt. The problem is their control over the sequencer was piss poor. It relied on engine vacuum, and the problem is Wankels are really funny about vacuum. They don't make a lot of it.
And it's a shame they had problems with that system too, because that's the perfect motor for it. Because that motor's made to be revved up to high RPMs all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they were such a great motor for that sequencer, but the sequencer was badly designed. Plus, rotary engines, they spin like crazy. The problem is they burn oil.
Yeah.
And you take the average driver, it's not going to know. You always hear the saw when you're in, high school driver's ed. Make sure you check your oil when you fill your tank. I'm a car nut. I've been a car nut forever. I've never popped the hood on my cars while I'm sitting at the gas pumps and check the oil. I mean, I check the oil in my cars when they're in the garage and they've been, I haven't driven them in a while. But I never have any drips on my floor, and neither of my cars are burners. But rotary motors burn a quart of oil every 1,000 miles.
Well, that's because the main seals in them burn out.
Yeah, the apex seals. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the apex seals don't even seal worth a damn when they're perfect.
That's why I had an opportunity to buy one, and at least thank God I was honest with myself about it. I was like, I am not responsible enough to own this car, because I was like 22 at the time.
Well, I almost ended up with my first car being the first generation RX-7, the really tiny one with 2 seats. It looked like a flying wedge.
Well, I mean, even the 90s models that got popular, yes, it had a back seat, but okay, you're going to fit a toddler back there, and that's about it.
And the toddler is going to be uncomfortable. But yeah, I wouldn't I mean, I knew several people in my high school, they had RX-7s of various vintage, and they didn't take care of their cars. And one guy blew his motor up right in the parking lot.
You know what? I almost bought like 8-9 months ago. Actually, it was right before we had to take in my cousin's kid. I was looking at, I found it was legally imported in the late 90s. It was imported in 99.
Right.
It was a 94 R32, the original Godzilla.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That whole series of cars, the Skylines, the very popular cars, even before Fast and Furious.
Oh yes, that's always been a popular car. Going back even going back to the originals, like back in the 70s, which is impossible to get one of those out of Japan. I think a couple have made it, but it's hard to get those cars out of Japan, period. Nobody wants to let them go.
I've never tried to drive a right-hand drive car. That would feel strange, I think.
I imagine it would take some getting used to.
Well, you'd be shifting with your left hand instead of your right, so
right.
That would be a little weird.
That was another car that was very ahead of its. I mean, it's nothing compared to today's technology, but in 1994, that car was 20 years ahead of its time.
Yep. Yeah, I would love to get my hands on one of the current GTRs. The only problem is, besides the price of the damn things, is, well, in my area anyway, the Nissan dealership around here is, they're run by a bunch of jokers.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're going to have to come out with another one before long, because people are starting to wear thin on the GTR. That R35 body style, and I don't know what Nissan's doing, but it's time to move on.
Oh. So many cars I would like to own. I saw a now the 4-door is the Charger, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I saw a Charger in town a couple of days ago. Absolutely beautiful, just beautiful. It was the blue one. And it was a wide body, and it had kind of anthracite wheels on it. And
It might have been the Hellcat Red Eye.
It was a Red Eye.
Woo-hoo.
And damn, that was a beautiful car.
My only problem with it, and I'm very much a Mopar guy, but my only problem with them is both the Charger and the Challenger are so damn heavy. I mean, even stripped down interior of the Demon, that 840 horsepower Demon they come out with, the Challenger two-door, that car's still 4,400 pounds.
Well, Mopars have always been a little heavier.
They have.
Wilkie asks my thoughts on Ford talking about doing direct sales.
It'll never happen.
They're never going to get rid of the dealership network, because how are you going to service the damn things?
Right.
I think there are some people that are just not going to be comfortable buying a car online. I sure as hell don't want to buy a car online. That's one of those things where, and I'm good with technology all around, but some things just don't work for buying online. I mean, I don't want to buy clothes online for the most part.
I'll say
shirts,
this.
maybe.
No money will change hands until I've had my ass behind the wheel of that vehicle.
Exactly. I want to drive the vehicle. I want to see it. I want to touch it. I want to look it over. I want to sit in it, make sure I fit. I want to drive it. I want to experience it. I'm just not going to, go on to Carvana.com, but say, oh, that one, and drive up to Tampa, which is my nearest Carvana with the vending machine and all that nonsense. No. I'm going to drive down to my dealership of choice, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm looking for this car with these options. What you got? Oh, we don't have that, but we'll trade another dealership for it up in Jacksonville. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow or whatever.
You know what, though? You talk about fitting into it. At this point, I'm convinced anybody can fit in anything. Because my boss at my last job was every bit of 6'10", 6'11". And if he wasn't driving his truck, he had a C6 Z06 that he would drive up to the yard.
Well, when I say fit in it, I mean, I know I'm only 6 foot. And I'm not too tall for pretty much any car ever, except maybe a Miata or something. I'm just talking about, can I find a comfortable position? Is the seat comfortable? Is it going to hurt my back? I mean, I retrofitted my Mustang with Corbeau racing style seats with, heavy bolstering and a lot better recliner and everything.
Yeah, I know Corbeaus. Yeah,
they're in a Mustang. The seats are in that era Mustang are horrible. I mean, a crime against humanity. Whoever designed this thing should be up on war crimes in front of the UN tribunal level bad seat.
Send them to the Hague.
I actually sold those seats. I've been sitting on them ever since I put the Corbeaus in. And finally decided, you know what? I'm never putting these seats back in the Mustang. I'm going to sell them. And
speaking of a Miata, I've got a friend in South Haven, right across the Mississippi state line. He dropped a LS3 under the hood of a Miata.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, there's a kit to put a 5-liter V8 Mustang motor into a Miata. I mean, all the mounts, all the wiring modifications.
Oh, dude, that thing is stupid. Stupid, because that car weighs like 1,400 pounds.
Yep.
And he's got a ProCharged, supercharged LS3 under the hood.
Yeah. Vic, you had me at the term mountain roads. If you say mountain road to me, you got me there. So, I wonder when the next time I'll get to go, take a road trip to one of them. But I still haven't made my reservation for the Slob Olympics in South Carolina yet. I really need to get on that. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go or not. I can't say definitively if I'm going to be able to go. Going to try, but we'll see what happens. Are you going, Slim?
In some shape, form, or fashion. I still don't know if I'm going by myself or what.
Yeah, I understand the places to stay in are rather pricey.
Well, I mean, I ain't necessarily worried about that. My only problem is 2 weeks after that is spring break, and that's probably around the time we're going to be looking to take a vacation, because normally we take it in October during fall break. Well, she's due in October, so obviously that's not happening.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's one of those, we were thinking about doing it for spring break if it was going to be around that time, but it ain't. So, like I said, in some shape, form, or fashion, I'll be there. I just don't know if I'm coming by myself or how we're going to work this out yet.
Well, it's kind of up in the air for me right now, so I'll just have to see what I'm doing. What's going on in the personal life, and see where we go from there. But I actually have to wrap this up because I'm heading over to the folks' house for dinner in the evening shift, and my mom wants me to go pick up something to add to tonight's dinner. I have to go to the grocery store and go get it. So I promised her I would do that. So wrap up at 5, so I have time to go do that. So,
all right, boss.
But I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, anytime.
And I appreciate everyone in the chat for coming on, and also for hanging around while I had that 10 or 15 minutes while I was away from the computer.
Yeah,
so,
cars.
What do you say?
It ain't nothing but UA. So we must have bored everybody off talking about watches and cars, because Ballard left, Vic left, Mike left.
And that's all right, because this show is about nothing in particular. So, as sticking with that theme, we can talk about anything we want to. I'll talk football, I want to talk politics, I want to talk watches, I want to talk cars, I want to talk trips to Californication, whatever. We do what we do.
That's a good song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, by the way.
Yeah, I know, but it fits the place. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up. So,
all right, boss.
Thanks for stopping by, man. Be safe.
Sir. All right, y'all be good.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and sirs, to borrow a line from Slim. Good to see you all again. Thanks for sticking around, especially when I had to leave the stream for a few minutes. It is what it is, When I'm needed, I go. But I appreciate y'all. If you haven't already done so, please click that thumbs up on the way out. It does help out with the channel. Hope y'all enjoyed the stream. Thanks to Vic and Hoagie and Ballard, even though looks like he was asleep mostly, and Slim for stopping by. Appreciate P-Dub for keeping an eye on the chat room for the inevitable trolls. I don't think there were any today. Good to see, Battle Angel, P-Dub, Jay, Albert, P-Digits was here, CJ was here, Neo was in here. I saw Neo earlier. And everybody, thanks for stopping by. We'll try and do it all again next week. So until then, be safe, be well, be careful out there in that crazy old world that we've created for ourselves. And I'll see you soon.